You close your eyes when the sun goes down, not when an app tells you to, not when a glowing rectangle finally lets you go. Your body decides. For nearly 300,000 years, this wasn't a wellness trend. This was every single night. Today, almost 1 in 3 adults says they don't get enough sleep. Insomnia has become its own industry worth billions of dollars in pills, apps, and white noise machines. Something changed. And it wasn't your biology. So, what did sleep actually look like before alarms, before mattresses, before bedrooms? To find out, scientists didn't just guess. They went looking for people still living close to the way humans lived for most of our history. In 2015, UCLA sleep researcher Jerome Siegel led a study that placed sleep trackers on members of three hunter gatherer and forager horticulturalist societies: the Hadza of Tanzania, the San of Namibia, the Tissamane of Bolivia. None of them use electricity. None of them own alarm clocks. If anyone still slept the natural way, it would be them. The results surprised almost everyone. These groups didn't sleep more than people in industrialized countries. If anything, they slept slightly less, averaging around 6.5 to 7 hours a night. They didn't go to bed at sunset either. Most stayed active for hours after dark, sitting near the fire, talking, waiting for the temperature to drop before finally lying down. Here's the detail that mattered most. Insomnia as a complaint barely existed among them. There was no local word for lying awake and worrying about not sleeping. The problem wasn't unfamiliar to their bodies, it was unfamiliar to their minds. Why would that be? The answer isn't that ancient humans had superior biology. It's that they weren't fighting their biology in the first place. Historian Roger Eckhart found something even stranger buried in centuries of pre industrial diaries, court records, and medical texts. Before artificial light became common, many people didn't sleep in one continuous block at all. They slept in two segments. A first sleep that began not long after dark, followed by an hour or more of quiet wakefulness in the middle of the night, then a second sleep that carried through until morning. That waking window wasn't a malfunction. People used it, they talked, they prayed, they tended a dying fire. They lay still and let their thoughts drift, half dreaming while fully conscious. Eckhart found references to this pattern so common across cultures and centuries that it barely needed explaining at the time. Everyone just knew what a first sleep was. Then gas lighting arrived. Then electric light. Nights that used to belong to darkness suddenly belong to work, socializing, and screens. The segmented pattern faded within a generation or two, replaced by the tightly compressed 8-hour block we now treat as the only correct way to sleep. There's a third piece of evidence, and it explains something about how ancient humans slept. Not just when. Anthropologist Carol Worthman spent years studying sleep across small scale societies and found that solitary, silent, pitch dark sleep, the kind considered ideal in modern bedrooms, was almost never the norm. People slept in groups, near a fire that stayed low but lit, within arm's reach of children, partners, or elders. Someone was usually semi alert at any given moment. And that was the point. Picture it. Dusk settles over a camp. The fire has burned down to embers, casting orange light across a circle of sleeping bodies. Someone stirs, shifts position, mutters something half asleep. A child cries briefly and is hushed without anyone fully waking. An older member of the group, someone whose sleep has grown lighter with age, notices a sound at the edge of the firelight and quietly checks it before settling back down. No one panics about being awake. No one checks a clock that doesn't exist. The night simply moves through its stages, and every person moves with it. This is where the counterintuitive twist comes in, and it reframes almost everything you think you know about good sleep. The idea that sleep should be one unbroken, silent, solitary block of 8 hours isn't ancient wisdom. It's closer to the opposite. It's a byproduct of artificial light, private bedrooms, and industrial work schedules that demanded everyone be alert at the exact same clock time every single day. Segmented, socially embedded, temperature driven sleep is the pattern with hundreds of thousands of years behind it. The rigid, isolated one block version is barely 2 centuries old. So, what does this mean for you lying awake at 3 a.m.? Heart starting to race because you're not supposed to be awake right now. It means the waking itself was never the problem. For most of human history, waking in the night was normal, expected, even useful. What's different now is the layer of anxiety stacked on top of it. Your ancestors didn't reach for a phone and start calculating how many hours of sleep they had left. They didn't spiral into worry about tomorrow's performance. They simply existed in the dark for a while, then drifted back under. Modern sleep researchers now suspect that the pressure to sleep in one continuous silent block may itself be generating some of the very insomnia it's meant to prevent. The harder you try to force an unbroken 8 hours, the more that forcing can backfire. Because your body was never built for that rigid a system in the first place. None of this means you should abandon a mattress and sleep by a fire circle. It means the goal was never perfect, uninterrupted stillness. The goal was always responsiveness, sleep that could bend around temperature, around danger, around a crying child, around a half remembered dream, without the added weight of guilt. You close your eyes when your body is ready, not when a machine tells you to, and not with dread if you happen to open them again before dawn. For nearly 300,000 years, that was never a failure. It was simply how the night was supposed to work.